Good afternoon and welcome to This Week in Starcraft! I'm Jeremy, Old Man Rhymer, and this is my co-host, Zoe the Cat. Zoe, say hi to everybody. Zoe, say hi to everybody. And we're here to get you up to date on the weekly activities in the exciting world of professional Starcraft competitive gaming, or esports! So the top news this week, definitely the tournament for the World Championship Series in Europe. 8 players made it to the final stage. 6 Europeans and 2 Koreans. The French player and last year's European champ, Stefano, had stated that it would be, a quote, disgusting if 2 Koreans out of the 2 that were in the final 8 managed to make it to the finals, and Stefano personally ensured that that didn't happen by beating 4GG 3-1 to advance to the final. On the other side of the bracket, the other Korean, MVP, blasted through fan favorites TLO and Dimaga without breaking a sweat, winning both sets 3-0. This set the stage for the ultimate showdown. MVP was the greatest player to ever play Wings of Liberty, winning 4 GSL championships in Korea, and Stefano was the greatest non-Korean player to ever play Wings of Liberty, winning multiple tournaments all around the world. However, neither of them had many significant results since the Heart of the Swarm expansion was released earlier this year. MVP had wrist issues, and Stefano had announced that he was going to be retiring in August of this year. Many people thought that perhaps his tournament winning days were behind him. So the stage was set for an epic confrontation. So in game 1, Stefano played amazingly well. MVP had built Hellions, Marines, and Widow Mines, and Stefano pretty much dominated him with some incredible creep spread. An ever-increasing swarm of Zerg units, including a Mutaflock that took out MVP's bases. And MVP tried drops, and Stefano had some great surrounds. Pretty much took the whole map and cleaned up. Here you see cleaning up the drops with his Mutaflock. No problem. Take out the medevac. Take out the rest of the Marines. Got the whole map. And pretty much went on at that point to dominate the end game. MVP tried some Widow Mines. More dropping. But then the Ultras came out. And Ultras, Banelings, and Mutalisks, yeah, Widow Mines were effective, but you can't stop that. So Stefano took game 1. And turning to game 2, MVP switched it up. He changed his build. He didn't go bio in game 2. He actually started building a lot of tanks and Hellbats. And you saw Stefano playing pretty much the same as game 1, and he didn't really adapt to MVP's switch in strategy. We had Thors and Ravens with Seeker missiles, and they pretty much dominated the story of game 2. Here we see MVP building a lot of mech in his base. He's got Thors, he's got a lot of siege tanks, he's got Widow Mines. And yeah, the creep is spreading up here. You can see the creep spread is pretty good. Not as good as in game 1. But here come the tanks. And Stefano had not enough good defense against these tanks. They came in here, took out all these, whoa, look at those flying Hydralisks, and pretty much dominated game 2. The Hellbats cleared up a lot of the Zerglings, and here the tanks are just destroying these poor Hydralisks. And he's got his Vikings there for spotting, and pretty much sieged up Stefano's base here. Now, this was his 5th base, so you'd think, well, you know, I mean, it's his 3rd expansion, but it's his 5th base in total. You think, well, it's not too bad, maybe. Stefano tries to go for a counterattack, but, oh, MVP's got tanks everywhere. He's got tanks there. Oh, he's got tanks there. And he's got tanks there. And he's got tanks there. And, yeah, took out 1 tank. Takes out 2 tanks. But he does finally clean up the rest of the tanks. But the base is gone, and MVP later on came with his Thors. And more tank drops, more harassment with drops. Look at that mech army. It started to get a little bit ridiculous. He was ahead in supply, 163 to 121 here. Stefano built some Vipers, tried for abducts, didn't quite work out. And there we see TLO. Stefano lost game number 2. So moving on to game 3. Game 3, Stefano went for an interesting play. He went for an early pool here and went for a Nidus Worm attack. So he's sending an open Overlord here, and he's trying to place a Nidus in. MVP hasn't spotted it yet. He didn't have a supply depot down in the corner right here. But eventually, as you can see, he went and built one, and that gave him vision. So when the Nidus comes up here, he sends his army immediately to deal with this Nidus attack. It doesn't even get a chance to get started. So pretty much after this, the Hellions came in the base. Big drop there, killing some queens. But after the Nidus was destroyed, MVP went for a counter push and won the game. So game 4 was one of the closer games of the series. We had MVP going for an early rush, actually bringing all of his SCVs. So Stefano's going for normal 3-hatch expand play here, and this is a point here. The Marauders tank for the Banelings. This early aggression comes in, and the Marauders come back. It's like, we're going to help, we're going to help. These Banelings are going to help. They come out, and they see nothing but Marauders. Marauders to the left of them, Marauders to the right. And there's pretty much nothing I can do. So MVP senses, oh, this is a pretty good early attack. He pulls all of his SCVs, or a large number of SCVs, and wins game 4. So we can see here this final push. Pretty much nothing Stefano can do about it. Here's the endgame push. And yeah, it's pretty much nothing Stefano could do at that point. So game 5 was the last chance for Stefano. And MVP switched up his build again. In the 5th game, MVP showed something that hasn't really been seen since Wings of Liberty in Terran vs. Zerg. He brought out mass Hellions into cloaked Banshees. This was a very popular build in 2011 when MVP was winning pretty much every tournament. And I guess he figured, well, it worked then. Sure, it's a new expansion, but why not try it now? So we see the Hellions coming in. They get a look at the 3rd base. They're like, oh yeah, okay, well, we can kill a few morphing units here. That's fine. And they get chased off. But they're like, oh, Banshees. Banshees kill a couple queens. Hellions are like, oh, let's help out these Banshees. Banshees are like, let's cloak. So they don't get a huge amount of damage done. MVP is actually down in supply at this point. But Stefano's got to be thinking, this is a crazy build. Nobody does this build. But he did. The battle was close. You see the little Nidus play there, trying to get into MVP's 3rd. MVP doesn't see it, but the knight just comes up, and it's a good strategy. Send a lot of queens to tank some damage. Send the roaches in on a different level, and there's no third base here yet. The third command center is orbital command is floating down, and the queens are like, "Hello, orbital command center." So MVP is like, well, okay, you're busy doing that. All your units are over there. I'll just send my Hellions into your main base. And it's drone barbecue time. Oh, no! And meanwhile, the roaches are greeted by cloaked banshees. They're still alive. MVP kills a bazillion drones. And the banshees are like, yep, well, we're doing work. We'll just pull back into the siege tanks. And the Hellions will go to your main base and kill more drones. And as you can see, this attack was really close. MVP had to pull away his SCVs. But these Hellions are still getting drone kills. Then he sends the SCVs back. They're like, we can still do stuff. We can fight roaches. We can help the Hellbats. We can do something. Hellbats clean up the roaches. The Banshees and tanks take care of the queens. And that's pretty much it. So MVP wins 4-1, winning the European Championship, and Stefano takes second place. So this is MVP's first tournament win since August 2012 when he won IEM Cologne against Nurcio. And that puts him within a few $1,000s of MC in the overall earnings. He's actually won $363,000, $363,520, placing him within spitting distance of MC. Stefano is still the highest earning foreigner in StarCraft 2 with $228,000. So going back to tournament results, the WCS Korea is scheduled for tomorrow. It's going to be happening on Saturday. That's going to be Soulkey versus Innovation. This is an incredible final. Innovation has been winning everything lately. Soulkey is practicing really, really hard, training with Flash. So this is going to be a really good match. The other thing that happened in Korea was the up and down groups. We had Lenok and Maru go through in Group A. And we had Fantasy, multiple OSL, I think single OSL winner, multiple OSL silver, runner-up, Fantasy win, and Savage, another Kesper player, went through. And at Group C, we had Hurricane and First. So, WCS Europe, as we said, we had some Challenger group stage games. WCS America is not yet happening. The finals there will be on June the 2nd, also this weekend. The quarterfinals and the semis will be played then. There were also a bunch of Challenger matches. So let's look at the Challenger round of 16s. This shows who goes on from the Challenger rounds to go back into Premier League for next season. And we can see Apocalypse beat out Top. Nesty beat out Kapach. Scarlet, the one representative from the Americas, beat out Jim from China to get back into the Premier League for next season. And Polt beat out Teja. In day 2, we had Violet beating Major 2-0. Puck surprisingly beating Suppy, who has been doing very well lately, 2-0. And most surprising is all, De Muslim beating out the STC 2-0 to advance into Premier League. Now a little side story. About De Muslim. De Muslim, it was considered that he was not picked for Premier League in the first season. It was considered kind of a snub from a lot of fans, and he didn't quite make it in the qualifiers. There was a chance to qualify directly into Premier League, and he didn't do it. But he made it into Challenger League, and then he made it to the next round of Challenger League, and then the next round of Challenger League, and then finally got through, and the final round of Challenger to be seeded directly into Premier League for next season. So congratulations to De Muslim. So those are the tournament results. Going into some team games, the ESF only GSTL took a week off this week. Kespa's Pro League was in full force. So let's take a look at the tournament results and the standings. We have in Pro League the Wunjin Stars qualifying for the playoffs now. They're guaranteed to be in the playoffs. They're at 24-11. KT Rolster and SK Telecom T1 fighting out for second place. SDX, Samsung Con battling it out for the playoff spots. CG Entus still in the thick of it. Kespa's Team 8 probably out of it, and not guaranteed out of it, but an EG Team Liquid also out of it. So the matches this week. We don't have the matches this week. We have the standings for GSTL remain the same. MVP and Axiom Acer are qualified for the playoffs already. Here we go. Pro League results. We had Team 8 beating out EG Team Liquid 4-1. SK Telecom beating out KT Rolster. We had STX Seoul beating out Wunjin, surprisingly, a very close match. Wunjin beating Samsung Con. KT Rolster with the all-kill against CJ Entus. And this weekend we'll have some more games, EJTL and STX playing SKT1 and Team 8. So all that talk about Kespa and ESF brings us to the Elephant Watch. We're keeping track of how players from the older, more well-established Kespa teams that didn't switch over to Starcraft 2 right away are doing versus the new upstarts, the ESF teams that switched to Starcraft 2 first. And of course we know initially Kespa teams didn't do too well because they hadn't had enough time to practice in the new game, and then the expansion came out and everybody's knowledge of the game and matchups and balance and what to do with everything reset to 0. And that's when we saw the better funded and better equipped Kespa teams start to pull ahead and starting to dominate the Korean scene. This is just a fun little thing. This actually doesn't mean anything, but Team Liquid is kind of a meme, and I like to see personally. So the only matches that Kespa and ESF were playing this week were the up and downs, and Kespa won 7-5 in that matchup. But interestingly, in terms of actual players who made it into the up and downs versus those who did not make it, there were 4 ESF players and 2 Kespa players making it directly back into the Premier League. Although the Premier League is pretty much Kespa dominated, that was interesting to see some of the less well-known ESF players still doing well. So, as I said, all good fun. Good luck to everybody. The game of the week is not a game, it's a series. It's the entire series. We showed you bits of it between Stefano and MVP. I'll put a link to it in the show notes for this week, and just go watch the whole thing. It's worth it. It's a fun series. It's 5 games. Yeah, it's not a close series, but some of the games are pretty close. They could have gone either way. Basically, MVP is just awesome, and is still awesome. So, turning to the plays of the week, I've thought about including other plays, but there's really only one play. This is actually play of the week. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. Play of the week. I'm crushing your S. I'm crushing your S. No, I'm not. There we go. That is hard to do. Whoa. Yeah, there's only one play of the week. It's absolutely guaranteed that you will love this play because everybody does. So, actually, let's just pause for a bit and talk about this because I want to set it up. In Brood War, there was a unit called the Spider Mine. It was a free unit, but you only got 3 of them per your Vulture. Vultures were little bikes that kind of like Hellions, but they were like more like motorcycles than Hellions. Anyway, they were fast and they threw these weird grenade type things. But they also had these spider mines. And the neat thing about spider mines is that they blew up friend and foe alike. So a technique that players often used was to send one unit to rush in, trigger all the spider mines, and they go and then run over, boom, and they blow everything up. So there's no such unit in Starcraft 2 Wings of Liberty, but in Heart of the Swarm, Blizzard brought the Widow Mine, which isn't really a mine. It's like a little turret that comes up, and then it fires a missile, and the missile hits things, and they go boom. But what wasn't really well understood about this Widow Mine is that it's also friendly fire. I mean, it was understood, don't get me wrong. The players are not, they know this. But they didn't really know this until this happened. Now, here we have Stefano and 4GG. 4GG has all his Marines and a whole bunch of Widow Mines, you can see there. And he's coming in, and Stefano has some Mutalisks. And what's going to happen? What is going to happen? Well, he's going to pull all of his Marines into the medevacs so they can escape. Let's see what happens.
Marines, 3 Marines. The Banelings, the Banelings, the Banelings. Oh, they're gonna, the Mutalisks. Oh my God! Fireworks! Everything gets obliterated. The Widow.
Let's just watch that again. Actually, let's not watch that again. Let's watch it again with the faces of the players reacting. Stefano. Oh, we are watching it again. Okay, we're gonna watch it again. We're gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again. Go back a little farther. Okay, now let's watch the reactions of the players. Stefano's on the right, and 4GG on the left.
Reactions of both of those players.
I'm just gonna stay silent.
Both players, look at Stefano.
Oh, that grin.
Both players smiling.
It's like the complete opposite.
But for different reasons.
Smiling and shaking his head. The other's like, oh my
Let's
God.
watch that again.
4GG's even
That is
talking
fun.
to himself. That was everything.
Indeed, Caleris, that was everything. So that was the play of the week. There are no other plays of the week when you have that play. Player of the week. It's got to be MVP. It's got to be MVP. Let's take a look at who he is. MVP. His real name's Jong Hyun, and he plays for Incredible Miracle. You can see him there. He often likes to have his mouth open because he is like Michael Jordan and loses control of his mouth when he's doing awesome things. He's 22 years old. He plays for Incredible Miracle, as I pointed out. He used to play for a team called the Woongjin Stars in Starcraft 1, and there was a saying called, oh, he's a Woongjin Terran. And Woongjin Terran meant, yes, you're not that good. You're just, you know. He had a good career, but he was the best of the Woongjin Terrans. And then he switched to Starcraft 2 and won everything. Let's go down to see all the things that he's won. Look at all these pictures of him winning things. I won this, and I won that. Well, let's just list them all. Okay, first place, GSL, Code S, 2011, 4-0 Marine King. GSL World Championship, 4-2 Marine King. MLG Anaheim. This is the one I actually went to. I was lucky enough to attend. First place, 2-1 over MMA, no big deal. Comes back, wins another GSL Code S, 2011, over Top. That was not close. It was even less close than 4-1. But MMA beats him in the Code S that was held at BlizzCon. That was exciting. So he lost there. But those were good matches. But then he comes back, and in the other BlizzCon match, they had 2 matches at BlizzCon. It was weird. And he beats Nesty 2-1. Another MLG, he's 4th place, maybe slipping. Next Code S, he's 3rd, 4th. Okay, whatever. Oh, end of 2001, World Cyber Games, wins that, 1st place. Blizzard Cup. I don't even remember this. This was a weird special thing. Lost to MMA, no big deal. And then he comes out and wins another GSL. This was an amazing GSL. If you want to go back and watch a good GSL, this one was amazing. His 4-3 win over Squirtle when everybody thought he was past it and couldn't win anything again. And he was over, and he won with some amazing plays and comebacks and all-ins and crazy stuff. And then he won I Am Cologne versus Inertio, no biggie. And then, the 2nd place, GSL. Oh yeah, 2nd place, not too bad. Losing 3-4 to life. Almost at this tournament, he was going to have won his 5th trophy, and they actually made a trophy. It was called the GSL 5, but the S looked like a 5 or something, and they were going to give him this trophy with a big 5 in it because he would have won 5 championships, and he also just won WCS Europe. So MVP is in fact the MVP, and in fact wins everything. So that's going to do it for this week. And our final thoughts. And the final thoughts for this week are not mine. They are written by somebody else because they're that awesome. Let's take a look. The final thoughts, as written by Stu Chu. And the graphic made by Callsign Viper on Reddit. So giving credit where credit's due. This was pretty good. Innovation, the ender of hope. The Terran Kingdom had become fully infested. The likes of Life and Roro defiled the throne that once belonged to MVP, and his castles were laid to waste by Lenok and Soulkey. No corner of the realm was left untainted, not even MKP's silver stool, which was taken by the tunneler, Symbol. But from the ashes of defeat rose to bring a new dawn. Reborn under the waters of Vong Sang and anointed on the Korean ladder, Bogus became innovation. And before he descended upon the studios of Gangnam, he gave his last sermon. Warn them all to flee now, for not a Zerg shall survive my fury. If they surrender, they may leave in peace to the lands of Europe and America. If they stay, I will have no mercy. Widow mines will split open the earth, releasing the fiery bats of hell. The skies will grow black with the shadows of the medevacs, and they shall see no light but the harsh exhaust of afterburners. Mules will rain from the heavens, and they shall be deafened by the sound of concussive shells. The GSL will be cleansed of the Zerg, and the Terran will reign supreme once more. And I wept, for I knew his words to be true. Thank you, Stuchu, and thank you, Callsign Viper. Let's just look at Innovation's road to the finals. He beat Rain 2-1, Hyun 2-0, beat Rain again 2-0, beat Flash 2-1, beat Life 2-0, beat Roro 3-0, 4-2'd Symbol, and that was with 2 all-ins. Actually, with 4 all-ins. He's still 1 for his Heartless Worm record, 44-14 for an incredible 75.86%. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Innovation. that's going to be this weekend. Tomorrow, actually, late night tomorrow, whatever time you're in. Pacific time, it's usually around 3, 4 a.m., but I may actually stay up for this because Sulky, as I mentioned, he's been practicing with Flash, the greatest Brood War player of all time. And yeah, so it's going to be pretty good. So watch that and watch all the other stuff, and we're going to sign out. Zoe is passed out. Are you passed out, Zoe? Yeah. Well, that's it. See you next week.
In the bud, bye, bye, bye.
Later.